welcome to the show. Welcome to It's Not an Orb, It's Dust. I'm Cathryn Rogers. I'm with Trevor Palmer and Lynda Cuerno. Hello, guys. How you doing?
Good. You know, could be better, could
Doing
be worse,
good.
I suppose.
So, yeah. We could
What's that,
complain, but
Trevor?
nobody
Sorry,
listens, so whatever. So,
Isn't that the
what's
truth,
that?
eh? I said, isn't that the truth, eh? We could complain, but nobody
Yeah.
listens.
Completely.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's true. That's true.
It is.
Nobody cares. This is the way it is. So now it's day before Thanksgiving here in the good old USA.
Oh, that's
So
right.
I've got all of my family coming to town. Yeah, so I have like 17 nieces and nephews, I think, somewhere around there. And they're all here. And all my sisters and my dad. So it's fortunately they rented a nice Airbnb this time. And so I think it like sleeps 20. So I don't have everybody crammed into my house, which is
right.
Nice.
I
don't mind family. Oh my God, it's a lot of people. It's so chaotic. So
I can imagine. So for everybody watching, we did pre-record this show on Wednesday, even though we're airing it on Sunday. So, well, happy Thanksgiving, Trevor. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving because this will be aired on Sunday, so we'll know for sure.
Well, it's tomorrow.
Right.
It's tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
It's tomorrow, and yeah, and I will tell you this. So I somehow got put in charge of the shopping. I had 4 separate shopping lists that I was trying to work off this morning.
Oh no!
So we'll find out if I got everything or not. All I have to say is if somebody reads in the paper or on the news that a Caldwell man goes missing after Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Uh-oh. I love that. That's funny. So we're gonna have a good show today, guys.
Tell us about it, Lynda.
Was waiting for that. Yeah. So we've done this before, and we had some really great feedback about the whole concept of the show. So Trevor, you have a hat, and in this hat there are questions, and we are going to pick a question out of the hat, and we're all going to answer them. So it's kind of random. It's going to be fun.
There's the hat. I think you're lagging a little bit, Trevor.
This is my very patriotic hat. So everybody understands. I think I am too, because like I'm kind of like everywhere, and I apologize. I probably should have connected a LAN cable.
Right.
Do you want to do that? Because we can wait a minute.
If it gets too bad, let me know and I'll fix it.
Yeah, maybe do that. Connect the LAN cable just to make it easier.
I'll go get a cable.
Okay. Lynda and I will chat for that.
Edit this out. We're not live.
Yeah, we're good. It's all good. Even if we were, who cares? Life happens.
Well, that's just it, right? I mean, even though it will be aired on Sunday, that's okay. I think it's okay. You know what I mean?
I agree. So
I think
life is weird, right, Kathy, lately? Like in the air, all of these weird vibrations are happening. Do you feel that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just trying to stay grounded, and you know, here's the thing is that as I guess an intuitive, psychic, empathic, it's not just your own energy that you're feeling. So you have to weed out everybody else's, and tensions are so high right now that I'm literally besides work, I'm not even social mediating. I can't. Like it's so right now I'm just trying to breathe my way through the next little while, I think is how it feels like.
Yeah.
Tapping into people when I'm doing my readings individually is fine. I'm doing, that's great and all of that. But I have to work really, really hard to sort of shield from everything else. And normally I have a pretty good shield. Like I have I'm one of those that I can shield really well. I'm not one of those people that like, oh, I can't go into a shopping mall because there's so much energy. No, I'm not that. Um, but I do find that things are super high right now, and that is more difficult.
Yeah, I think most people are feeling that. I ran into a psychic medium, a local psychic medium today, as a matter of fact, and she was saying the same thing. She said, when you read people's energies, and the energies are crazy right now, they're so high. She said it's really difficult to actually breathe.
It is. It is. Like I literally said to my son, I think I'm having a panic attack, like I'm having an anxiety attack, and I never get them. Like I'm not an anxiety type of person, but
Right.
I'm literally like that. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard. It's really, really hard. And then you've got your own shit on top of it that you're, going through or dealing with. And you're just like this walking, vibrating being right now. So
And listen, Trevor's back.
I think Trevor, so shut it down and then come back on to the link because that might help.
Maybe.
Because I think he's still behind a little bit.
Okay.
Aw.
Okay.
This is fun.
Okay.
You
I
might be
promise
okay.
I'll let you back on.
Oh boy. Don't you love these? So much fun doing things on the internet, isn't it?
Oh my God.
Hey, listen, you know what? It's called, when we do it, it's called live TV, right? Because I'm on a live TV show and
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen. And it just makes it that much more human. Even though this is being recorded, do you know what? It's human. Things happen.
This is very true.
Right?
This is very true. Yeah, there he is. Okay, so let's see.
We'll let him back in.
Hey, Trevor.
See if it's any better. I'm here.
Yeah, we hear your mouth and your words are coming at the same time.
Oh, nice. Yours are too now. So
it's good. This is good.
Yeah. I've got I got every single one of my kids are home. Yeah, every single one of my kids are home, and every single one of them is on YouTube or online gaming right now, and their phones, and so bandwidth is a little sparse apparently. So
that's
anyway,
okay.
Okay, where were we?
We're picking
the hat.
out of the hat.
Let's pull some questions from the hat.
I think I'm still lagging, but we'll work through it. I'm going to turn that around.
We'll
see
work
if that
with
makes
it.
it a little better. Okay, so
We'll work with it. We need a theme
USA,
song.
large and in charge. God
Yay.
help us. Okay.
All right.
All right. First question. Why are some people able to hear the dead, but not able to see them, or vice versa? What are the different gifts that people can have? And are mediums skilled in all forms of spirit communication and sensitivity?
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. So do you guys want me to answer this one first, or do you guys want to go?
Oh no, this is a
I think
Cathy
this
question.
might be up your alley.
Okay. Okay. So here's the thing is everybody has a special gift. Everybody has a unique gift. Now, whether this is that you're a great hockey player or a pianist, or maybe, you're great at construction. Maybe you're a good hunter. You can shoot a bullseye from, 2,000 yards away, whatever it is. Like everybody has a special, unique talent, even if they haven't discovered that unique talent as of yet. Okay. And when we have mediums and psychics or empathic, intuitives, whatever you want to particularly call it, one of the reasons, so I mean, here's the thing. Can every medium see spirits, like as if you're in the Ghost Whisperer, the TV show, where they're standing right in front of you and maybe they could help with the dishes or some bullshit like that? No, unfortunately, that's not how it works. Everybody has a special gift, but also, it's what, to a degree, of what we allow. Now, that doesn't mean that because we can't see or hear or whatever it is across the veil, it doesn't mean that you're lacking in that particular area. It just means that for whatever reason, you may not have developed that particular area. It's let's compare it to hockey. Some people are great at defense, some people are great at offense, some people are great goalies. It's all within hockey, but it just means that you're great at that particular area. Okay. And so now with me, I used to be able to see those that have passed over. Okay. Like for me, I could see them to a degree as people. Or I still see them as people, but I mean with my eyes. However, it's also very hard to differentiate what is real and what is not real, especially when when you have to access that information quickly, like when you're driving, for instance. Okay. And so when you're driving and you see somebody cross the street, you're going to automatically assume this is a real life person and not somebody that is not a real life person. And if you slam on your brakes because there's nothing there, the cars behind you get really pissed off.
They do. Right?
Right?
Well, over here sometimes they get pissed off even if there is something there. So.
Well, and that's exactly it, right? And so, we got to remember that even if you can see the dead, okay, like see the dead with your eyes, chances are they are not going to sit there and they're not having a full conversation with you, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, the chances of that are 1 in a million. Maybe there is that 1 millionth psychic that's out there that has a whole freaking army of dead people that follow them around and they chat with on a regular basis. However, that's also very intrusive, right? Because you got to have your own life. And I've even had clients where I've said, look at, to a degree, like you've got to let go. Like I'm not your channel for this person. I have other things to do than sit here and channel this like for you to have a conversation about your day. Like that's not what I'm here for. I mean, they've got their things to do on the other side. You've got your things to do on this side. That's where it is. So now what I did is I personally asked my guides to not let me see them with my eyes. Really? Because it was very intrusive for me. Like I again, slamming on my brakes was a real thing. Now, thankfully, nothing, came out of that, but it could. Or talking to people that aren't there for others, but you think you view them as real people. You see what I'm getting at? Like, I mean, so for me, they come in my head. They're just in my head. And I know that I'm not like crazy, like asylum in my head, but I know that they're there because they'll start off slow. I'll get little things that come through that I know don't belong to me, but they might belong to you. I'll ask you about it. If it resonates, then we go forward. It's like that. And so, now I think the question is like, basically the question is do we all have the same gifts? Is that correct? I think that's the main premise of the
more or less. Yeah. It's like, why can one person like yeah,
Yeah.
see them, and I think she was using big words like omni audible. Is that what you called it? I wasn't sure, so I tried to dumb it down for myself. Um, some people, because some people can hear the spirits, but they can't see them, and then some people can see them, but they can't hear
Yeah.
them, or
Yeah.
or sense them. And
Yeah.
some people are
Clairvoyance,
clairvoyants, and they have
clairaudience.
that type thing.
Right. I think, I mean, for myself personally,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't see or hear them until they're in front of me, or until I'm actually doing a reading or I'm trying to tap into them. They're not just wandering around in my head space, because I don't want that. And I don't think any medium on this planet would really want that, because unless you don't have a life of your own, that would be like, I got other things to do. But it goes back to everybody has a certain gift, and some are going to be more hear them audibly. Maybe they're going to hear them and see them. Maybe they just see them, or maybe they just feel the presence of them. And then once they tap into them, then they can get more information. That's kind of how I am, is like, I don't pay attention to it until I need to know. Like if I was going to do an investigation, or, if I was doing a reading for somebody, then I'm more attuned and I'm tapping into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess
Gotcha.
that's the best.
So
way to
let me
answer it.
let me take this a little bit different direction with this. So how about this one? This actually got asked at a class that I was at a while back, and I'm going to personalize it a little bit because it does apply to me. So my mom passed away a little over a year ago, and since then, like, my sisters tell stories about dreams that they have, and they dream about my mom all the time.
Yeah.
I have not had one single dream about my mom.
Right.
Not that I don't want to. I'd love to. I'd love to have a dream where she comes up and gives me a big hug. That would be great. So how come they're getting to have dreams of my mother, but for some reason I don't?
To give you a definite answer on that would be really difficult to do. But even though we got to remember that dreams are a part of our subconscious as well. Okay. And so subconsciously, there may be a part of you that's blocked off to it, simply because you do have other senses that you like. Okay, here's the thing:
Right.
is that yourself, Trevor, that you're very intuitive. You do pick up on things on the outer plane in your consciousness here and now. Does that make sense? And so you might be blocking off your subconscious simply because your brain is wanting to take a break. Especially if you're intuitive, like if you pick up on things very quickly or easily, you might want to shut down that area while you're sleeping. And also too, is you have a lot of kids, you have a wife, you got other shit going on in your life. That's more precedent, I guess. And it doesn't mean that your mom is not precedent. Of course she is. But at the same degree, you can also to an extent send the messages that you do want to send to her through your waking realm, because you're more consciously in tune to the things that are around you.
Does that make sense? Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. Oh, that's
so
great.
it doesn't mean that you're that you're blocking from your mom or anything. I just feel like maybe what is happening, you can also ask for it too, right? Like, you might have to, it might take a little bit to come through, but you can ask for it and say, look at, mom, I really want to, say what say what you need to say, and then allow it to come through, because that will help open up the subconscious.
That's cool. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I hope that helps.
Kathy.
Good.
All right. Ready for the next one?
We're ready. Drum roll.
What's it going to be?
Uh-oh.
Okay. This one's kind of an interesting one. Should all hauntings be solved? Or in some cases, is it best to leave a home, a business, or the land. So basically, should we work on, like, if we find that the place is haunted, should we actually try to investigate it out, cleanse the place, or should we tell people, nah, better off leaving this one alone?
What do you
That's a
think?
good question.
You guys
what do you
start.
think? Trevor, what do you think?
Oh, okay. Well, here's my 2 cents of the world according to Trevor. The spirits on the earth, good, evil, whether they were human or inhuman, they don't belong here. If you look in the Bible, when God created earth and created man, he gave man dominion over the earth and every creeping thing thereupon. So when we are here, we have our time here. That's our time. When we die, we are supposed to move on to another plane, another existence. And if we decide to stay for whatever reason, well, guess what? The living have dominion over the earth and over every creeping thing. So if a person wants a spirit gone, that spirit should be gone. And that's just my opinion. So sounds a little harsher than I mean it, but I mean, that's just the way it is. So I think that that we have control, the living have control. And yeah, I think that's it. Now, I think that there are cases where things can be more difficult to just simply ask something to leave or tell something to leave, and it can take a little bit more effort. However, again, I don't think anybody should be forced out of their home or have to make that choice that, you know, that they need to leave or whatever. So that's where that's my stance on it. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Lynda?
Well, now, I think that there are some locations where a lot of the residual energy in that location is so imbued in that particular location that it doesn't matter what you might do to eradicate that energy, that it sometimes just won't be eradicated. So it might be difficult to live in that area. It might be difficult to carry on what you're doing in that area because the energy is so intense there. And I think in that case, you shouldn't be there. I think that either you leave or you try and eradicate it by imbuing some other kind of energy that in time might help eradicate those particular energies that are there. And also, I think that there are some situations where the spirit that's inhabiting that area is very insistent. So whatever you do, it won't go. It won't leave. You can call in, people from the other plane of existence to come and take them away, and they'll say, "Yeah, no, I'm not leaving." So I think that in some cases, if you have a particularly malevolent or stubborn entity there, it just won't leave, and it might decide that no, it's not going anywhere. And in that particular case, if it's affecting you to an extreme, then I don't think that you should stay in that location. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
but are you
about,
talking a home?
I kind of wonder if we're. Sorry, I'm still lagging.
Okay.
So are we talking about two different things? I'm wondering, because we talk about residual energy, and then to me that's different than when we're talking about spirits and beings. So, because like a residual energy is that energy that's imprinted in a place, and I agree with you. I don't think that there's really a good way of getting rid of that. I mean, if you decide to build an Airbnb in the middle of Gettysburg, on one of the battlefields, that probably wasn't a very good choice because there's a lot of residual energy there.
Exactly.
Exactly. And, yeah, I agree. Getting rid of energy would be really, really difficult. But I still stand that, I think spirits are a whole different thing, so that we can, even the really tough ones, I think there's some, I couldn't even explain it, some natural law, some higher authority that people can have, that as the living have over the dead. So
yeah, I don't know. I've been to some really active locations where it just doesn't matter. It might subside for a little while, and people think that it's gone, but it comes back. And that's a really tough one because I don't know. I like to think that, yes, we have dominion over them. We have the capability of eradicating them, moving them along, no matter what they are, whether they're, malevolent, whether they're just a real pain in the butt. But I do believe that in some cases, they just won't go, and they'll stick their claws into wherever they are, and they don't want to go. And I think it might be difficult to get them gone. I don't know. I'd love to hear from people to see whether they've
I certainly defer to your expertise, Lynda, because you've got much more experience in this field than I do, for sure. So, and that's interesting to hear. But that leads me actually there. I hate to do it because the question's in the hat, but I want it goes right along with this, and so I'm just going to ask it.
Do it.
Yeah.
So, can I or anybody cleanse their own home? Can anybody get rid of a spirit that they don't want? If so, how do they go about doing it? Or is it better to hire somebody? And how do you find those people that know how to do it?
So can I answer I'm going to answer part of this for you. I'm just going to give my opinion on this. So first of all, you are the most power in your own home. I found that even though you sure, of course, you can hire people, to do it for you. Of course you can. But, first of all, you're going to have to find people that are ethical, right? Which is difficult, when we talk about hire, I mean, what is the price to cleanse your house, and how do you have proof that it's cleansed? Like, that's where legally, you've got an issue, right? But it's different when you're hiring a psychic to do a reading for you, or something along that line, because there is going to be, especially if you're hiring a medium, for instance, your life, the messages that your mom or your dad or Low Joe would give you, right? You have an idea, like if it's matching up with the personality of that person, et cetera, et cetera. There is no legitimate medium on this planet that is going to tap into and download Marilyn Monroe just because you have a freaking crush on her. You know what I'm getting at? So and anybody that does that or tries that is just full of shit, right? Like, that's basically where it is. So if you're going to get messages from your mom, your dad, what those things that a medium can do, they're going to be messages that are going to resonate with you, or messages that you could see coming from your family. They're going to be maybe even specific to your, to you, right? Now, how do you legitimize? How do I go in and say your house is clean? That little, that, like from Poltergeist, this house is clean. Like, how do you, how? Like,
I have exorcised the demons.
Right, exactly. Like, how do you say that you've done that? You can't. Like, I mean, I might not feel them, but that doesn't mean that 5 minutes after I left, that somebody decides that they're not going to pull out the fucking Ouija board, excuse my language, and then hey, is this house clean?
Yeah.
True. And start up the whole energy all over again. Is the house clean? You know what I mean? Or Or why is the
Yeah.
spirit there? I mean, that's the main thing. Why is this spirit there? Sometimes spirits come in because
Mhm.
there might be somebody very intuitive within the home, which I find that is a very common theme. But and so they know that there's a bright light in this home. They know that this person is an intuitive, and you're going to get traffic that's coming in, and unless you can somehow really work the mojo on the house, right, and put up a clearing or a blocker, or work with that person to help them with their skills and etc. I mean, we're talking a long process here
Agreed.
for the most part, and it doesn't mean that it can't happen. But can you cleanse your own house? Well, that's going to be the most power because it's your house. You have the most caring within your own home. You hire somebody, they're not going to care about as much as they're going to care about if you're paying them. They're going to care about how much time they're spending. They're going to care. And it doesn't mean that every person that you hire is going to be a fraud. I'm not saying that in any extent, or that they don't give a shit, because that's not true either. But what I'm saying is, this is your home. This is where you sleep, you eat, you do all of your stuff. You're going to have the most energy within your own space, and so you are going to be the strongest within your own space as far as cleansing that space. So I mean, how do you do it? Well, I mean, there's many ways to do it, right? And I mean, that's what you might want, is somebody to kind of give you some guidance on that, or and you can probably hire them for that. But that, again, that's not thousands of dollars. That's like a 1 hour reading where they could give you several tips or tricks or whatever. That doesn't need to be you know buy this special hoodoo crystal that tap dances and cleanses every, you know what I mean, like, there's it's a very simple process for the most part, I feel, unless, of course, again, there might be the stubborn that don't want to go. But also, are you allowing them to leave? And a lot of people say, "Look, I don't want this anymore," but then they're thriving on fear, right? And the family's now thriving on fear. And no matter how big a house is, it's only four walls. And so the
Yep.
fear that you're placing within those four walls is going to make a huge difference. And that's what you really want to work on. So, I mean, maybe rather than somebody to clear out the house, maybe you maybe need some therapy. And then, not saying that you're crazy or anything else, but you might need some therapy to work on your own anxiety or whatever other issues that are coming through. So, are there ways to do it? Absolutely. Right? Do they need to be super expensive, and where you're throwing your life savings out because of this? No. It's, I mean, if anything, that would probably give you more freaking anxiety. Spending thousands of dollars to cleanse your home, right? And again, that what, like, there's hundreds of
Yep.
thousands of videos on YouTube. How do you cleanse a house? How do you do this? How do you do that? You know what I mean? So, it no one method there's not one method that's going to do it. There's going to be maybe a few hundred methods. Maybe it might take you two or three times of different methods to clear out that house. But the main thing is really going to be working on yourself and what you're allowing within those four walls of your
Yep.
home.
Exactly. Good answer.
That's great to hear, Kathy, because that's kind of, as a paranormal investigator, that's what I've tried to do with a lot of my clients, is empower them to take control of their own households. And because dealing with spirits, it's very much a mental game. It is a battle of willpower, and it's no different than dealing with toddlers. It's it's, you've got to have the mental capacity to believe enough, not just believe, but know that you have control over your home, and that you have control over the energy there. And so I really appreciate what you said about the therapy aspect of it, because people that have those anxieties, that have, you know, that they're sleep deprived, and they've got all these things and all that stress going on, it is mentally exhausting to try to deal with some of these spirits. And so that's great. You know, and that's what I tell people all the time. And it's not, to me, it's not what you do to cleanse a home. It's what you believe or what you know is going to work. That you have that conviction that even if I just say, this is my house, get out, that's all you need to do. Great. And that's where I say, you know, we kind of have that higher authority, that higher mental power to deal with these things. So that's fantastic.
I do want to make one difference that some people don't quite understand. So listen to what Trevor said. It's taking authority, right? And that's important, taking authority. There are people that try and threaten this, whatever it is. And that's stupid.
Yeah, you don't do that. Don't challenge it,
because
don't challenge
it, right? Like, you know, don't place the challenge in there, because you are going to lose. I mean, you're looking at something that you can't see, touch, taste, you know, smell. Like, well, smell, yes, you can, but you know what I mean, that kind of thing. But you know, but there is a difference between saying, you know, I've told parents before, look, at you see something in your kid's room, or if your kids are reacting to something in their room, you are their parent. It is perfectly okay to go in there and say, get the hell out of my kid's room, because you would not let a stranger in your child's room. So why are you letting something else in your child's room? Damn right, go in there and you say, get out of my kid's room. You do not belong here. But you don't challenge it. You're giving authority to say, this is not acceptable. You are not allowed in here. Get out, and get out now. But that's not a challenge. That's a whole different. That's putting authority in. Yeah.
Yes. Express your intentions intentionally.
Yes, but don't let your intentions be challenged.
I've had investigators. I've had investigators that have challenged spirits, and I've seen the results. And if you get a mean one, you get what you might get what you ask for. And so you know, that's anybody that's investigating the paranormal, and especially on my team, we don't provoke. When we try to engage with any spirits, we are respectful. We try to treat them with dignity. We ask appropriate questions, you know, and we, you know, give them, you know, we try to treat them we would any living person, you know, because that's what they were, you know, they're just on a different consciousness. So that's great. So cool. Another question?
Yes, go for it. I love the hat, by the way.
Like I said, we could like fill like, you know, I only get to wear it on the 4th of July, so I'm excited to get to use it for
great hat.
So.
Okay.
So we actually just kind of talked a little bit about this, Kathy. Can you touch? Is it possible? Could you touch a spirit? And if you could, what do you think it would feel like?
Oh God, I don't know. I've never touched one. I don't know. What have you guys? Or I guess it would be more like them touching you, right? I would think.
Yes. Have you ever walked through?
Well, and that's the thing. It's like if.
Go ahead, Trevor. Yeah.
I got to be honest. I thought I had an opportunity or it was an opportunity experience where we were actually leaving an investigation. I was doing the final walk through the building, making sure that we had all our equipment, and that, you know, we didn't make a mess, and you know, all that stuff. And as I was walking through the basement, I had the flashlight, and immediately in front of me, this mist just kind of materialized. My flashlight hit it, and I was like, "Ugh," and I was just forward momentum, and I walked right through it. Didn't feel a darn thing.
Wow.
It was a little anticlimactic. So, but if they can touch us, wouldn't it be possible for us to touch them?
I suppose, but maybe that's like a cold spot,
Yeah, I think that's true. But I
Yeah.
think it depends on how strong the spirit is, because I mean, gosh, in my paranormal career, oh my gosh, I've kind of walked through things that felt like spider webs. I've experienced, part of me that felt like something, that I touched something and it was kind of like an electrical sensation. Again, Kathy, you're right. Like I've walked through cold spots thinking, okay, that's got to have been a spirit. But I think it depends on the intensity of the spirit, how strong they are. And I think for sure, I think we can touch them. But yeah, they're usually the ones that touch us.
There was a lady that claimed that she married a spirit. He was apparently a pirate from the 1800s.
Yep.
Maybe we could ask her about this one, because you would think if you're married, there's some touching going on, but who the hell knows?
Right? Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of claims of people that have had, experiences with ghosts. And I keep thinking,
Right?
really? Do you think it's a ghost or is it something else?
Maybe they're the ones that need some therapy going on. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Hard to tell. Hard to tell.
Apparently they're divorced now because, he's
Yes.
abusive or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Well, I think she wanted children.
Oh man, I wonder what she got out of that divorce.
I don't know. It was an out of this world experience, Trevor.
Besides a big wedding and divorce bill and stuff, I who knows? Like,
I don't know. Oh, we have time for another question. Let's go for it, Trevor.
She got half his buried treasure.
Oh,
yeah.
Let's do it. All right.
Talk about a booty.
Yeah. Right?
All right. Oh, this is a good one. Yeah. He had a big booty. Let's see. Do foreign languages create barriers to investigating the paranormal? Do spirits transcend language barriers, and are they able to speak or understand all languages?
Wow, I don't know. So, okay, I'm just going to tell you what I have experienced by doing readings for people. Okay. So anybody that has passed over that has come to me has always spoken English. Now, is that because that's the language that I speak and that I'm understanding it? Like maybe, for all I know, maybe they're speaking, whatever, but it's translated to me because that is the language of what I speak. Now, there have been incidences where there has been a special word or phrase that is said in another language that I've heard and related it to my client.
Wow, really?
Right? Like, but I don't understand the phrase itself in that language. And I'm gonna, and even receiving it would be like in very bad repeating of that language. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't speak Spanish, for instance, or
No.
so if it was said to me, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna try to translate it to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
It's not going to be perfect. It might be very broken up, but for the most part, the client will get what it is that I'm saying. And I've had people say, oh my God, that's what my grandfather calls me, or my dad, or what, you know what I mean? Or this was a special word, or this was the name of our dog, or whatever it was at that time.
Wow.
But it's not their whole, it might be like, again, it might be a special phrase, but that's for the client specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
That's going to be something special for the client, so that the client knows or understands or has the realization that this is truly their passed over person.
Okay.
It's like validation for them. Okay. Even if I pretty much destroy what I'm trying to say to them, the idea is going to be there for them, and they're going to understand what it is that I'm saying to them in that extent. But as far as having a conversation, I might pick up on the accent. I've picked up on accents and said, look, at this person has a very strong French accent, but they're still speaking to me in English, or I'm understanding what is being said to them in English. Whether or not they only spoke French, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would pick up on the French accent, but I'm hearing what they have to say in English.
Got it. Trevor, what do you think?
So we have EVPs of literally a full conversation in another language. We weren't even sure what language it was. We think it might have been Slavic. I don't know. I'm with you though. When we investigate, we typically speak in English, and a lot of times we, even in areas where it may have been Native Americans or it may have been, Hispanic community or whatever, we've been able to get responses. And I think that's large in part, we talk about gifts that people have, special gifts. And in my church, we call them the gifts of the spirit. Some people are able to speak with the dead or see the dead. Some people can heal people. Some people can be healed by people, things like that. But another gift that we talk about is the gift of tongues. And a lot of people, they'll believe that that's kind of the ability to speak in the language of angels. I think it's a little bit more than that, however. I think it's
like
the ability to communicate with people in their own language. Yeah. So, I think that perhaps these spirits have those, the gift of tongues, that they might be able to just communicate directly with us in our own language. So
that makes sense. I have a theory.
Okay. What's your theory?
A Lynda theory. I don't know. Well, prior to moving to Ontario, I was from Quebec. So I did some investigating in Montreal and in other parts of Quebec where I spoke French. And it was an interesting observation that I had. I was doing an investigation in Montreal and I spoke English. And then I thought, okay, I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting any EVPs. I'm not getting any communication. Let's try French. So then I switched to French and I got an EVP in French. We got some interesting communication in French. And at that moment, I thought to myself, if you're communicating with an intelligent spirit, and an intelligent spirit that hasn't moved on, that's here for a reason, that's stuck here for a reason, or whatever that might be, then they're likely going to communicate with you in their language of origin, whatever that happens to be. Because in other locations, I didn't communicate in French or another language, and I got a lot of responses in English in a location where I should have gotten a lot of responses in French, but it was as if I was communicating with spirits that have possibly gone forward, right? Have gone to the next level of existence and then came back to communicate with me. And it's almost like they're at a different level of understanding. When they say like aliens, they were right in front of me and they looked at me and I didn't have to speak to them because they were speaking to me telepathically in my own language.
Right.
It's almost like that. And that's what I've experienced anyway in all these years. I really believe that if a spirit hasn't moved on, that it's an intelligent spirit, it wants to communicate with you for whatever reason, it will talk to you and expect to be spoken to in its own language of origin. But if it's a spirit that's moved on, that is another, let's say, Polish or Ukrainian or Slovak or French or whatever it happens to be, they'll understand you and be able to communicate with you in your own language of origin. I don't know. It's
Right.
theory
Well,
that
yeah, because telepathically, I mean, you would be able to understand each other on that, because it's an energetic level more so than however else. Like, I mean, even some mediums, they just work with energy.
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly. So it
yeah,
transcends time, it transcends language. Yeah.
yeah. That
But
makes a lot of
that's my
sense.
pet theory anyway.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It might be too that, I mean, if you know that it's an area that, they spoke French, and you're speaking in English, and then you switch to French, maybe they almost like a trigger object, kind of. They're just more apt to engage. Oh, hey, this is somebody that, knows me or is one of my countrymen, or I don't know. So, but yeah, it is an interesting question, and that, the things, what are we going to know and what are we going to be able to do on the other side? It's the
Oh,
ultimate
we're all going to
question.
meet at the bar on the other side, and we're going to be
Do we
pointing
have
our
time for another?
glass at people like us.
I think we got time for one more.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I agree with Lynda. I think there's a lot of a lot of pointing and laughing at us. These idiots. All right. Okay. This one is kind of an interesting one because this actually happened to me. When something goes missing, you have an object that goes missing, and you think that you have a spirit in your house that's taken this object. Where do you think the spirit takes it? Is he just hiding it somewhere in the general location, or does it wind up vanishing into the ether?
Honestly, I have no idea. I think that's a great question because I've never asked a spirit that. Oh, I'll be honest, that's not something I've ever asked because like I said, like I think you said, Lynda, I think that they are passed on. I think that they are on that other level, or that, they have moved on. But I think that's a great question. I don't know. I mean, I think maybe to some degree, maybe it's a little bit cloaked out of your eyesight.
Good point. What do you
he's
think, Trevor? Because that's a really good point. Maybe it's just they've fiddled around with the molecules, the molecular structures.
Yeah. I don't know. I think ghosts have this like cloak of invisibility, and they just hide them in their pockets. I don't know, because honestly, I had this happen to me. It happened to me years ago in a house that I had built, and I remember my wife. She's notorious for losing her keys, and one morning she's got to go to work, and she says, "Hey, I lost my keys. Can I take your car?" I said, "Sure, don't lose my keys because these are all I got." And I spent the next 2.5 hours scouring my house for my wife's keys. I looked I turned over every couch cushion. I was digging through the garbage cans. Looking under my kids' beds. I even went out in the backyard. I searched this place high and low for those keys and could not find them. So she came home later on, and I told her, "Sorry, we're gonna have to figure it out. We're gonna have to go get a key made or something because I couldn't find them." So we had dinner that night. We all sat around the dinner table, did our thing, cleaned up, went upstairs to go to bed. We had little kids at the time, so I had that child-proof gate that we put at the top of the stairs. I got up the next morning to go to work, went downstairs, went to the kitchen to pack my lunch, and I looked over on our dining room table, and right in the center of the dining room table were my wife's car keys.
Wow.
When we'd had dinner there the night before. So I have no idea where those keys had gone. So I know where they wound up, but it was super bizarre.
Isn't that see? And then I think about like and we've talked about this many times. The Barbie dolls in my house. Like, I mean, although granted, we weren't at home at the time that we came in and found them all over the house. So, I mean, how that happened. I mean, now if we had been home, would I have looked up and seen this parade of Barbie dolls? Like,
That would have been interesting.
then I wouldn't be living in that house
That would have been something.
ever.
No.
I would have been like, I'd probably still be in
Nor
the
would I have
closet.
Barbie dolls.
I mean, like, this parade of Barbies all going to their places that they need to be. Like,
Oh my gosh.
can you imagine? But
It's-
yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, it's I honestly, I don't have an answer for that. I do not.
No, I don't either. I asked that question to someone once.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, they said to me that it was a key thing as well, Trevor, and they were looking everywhere for this key because there was a bowl that they always used to put this key into whenever they got home. Just, come in, lock the door, put the key in the bowl and continue. And then when they went to leave, the key wasn't there. And they said, well, this is weird. So they went around, no kids, nobody else home. They went around the house, searched through everything and thought, geez, that's weird. Came back to the front door and looked and the key was there. And they touched the key. They picked up the key and it was freezing cold, like it had been in a freezer.
Yeah.
So try and explain that one.
Oh, wow.
Jeez, eh? Yeah,
Right.
that is kind of. I mean, I honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea where they could
Right.
disappear.
Strange.
Or how I like Trevor's idea of the cloak of invisibility. I think that, if anything, makes the most sense.
It does. It really does. I think that's amazing.
I mean,
Mhm.
they've got to take them back to whatever plane of existence that they're in. You would think. I mean, because that's the hard part about this, and also one of the most intriguing parts things about the paranormal field is just trying to figure this stuff out. It's like, what plane of existence are they on, and how does that plane interact with us? Because if we could figure out where those keys went, we could figure out where these spirits are, and we might make it easier for us to talk to them. So
Agreed.
And if we could find that plane, or enter it to some degree, I mean, imagine all the shit that we could find there. We could be
Oh
finding
my gosh.
all kinds of lost treasure.
Jimmy Hoffa? Jimmy Hoffa?
oh my God, yeah.
I want all the treasure in the middle of my living room. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
All the silver coins and gold.
I just want half the homework that I lost over the years that I could turn into my teachers, and then I can say, see, I did the work and it was taken by
It wasn't
the
the
ghost.
dog.
I love that. That's funny.
It wasn't the dog.
Yep.
It wasn't the dog. No.
Wasn't the dog. That was fun. That was fun.
I think so too. We should do this again, maybe even next week or something like that. We'll see how that. We still got some topics, I think, in the hat. Do we, Trevor?
We have a lot of topics in the hat, so we barely scratched the surface.
Well, then I think maybe we should do this again next week. I think that would be lots of fun. So
Yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
So thanks everybody for joining us. We truly appreciate it. And we will be back next Sunday. We will be live. We're going to come up with a regular time and everything that, to make it easier for you guys to be able to view us. But we also do appreciate those of you who, even if you can't catch it live, that you're watching the reruns. So thanks for everything. Thanks for always being here, and take care, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.